Jin gives emotional farewell to Cha Eun-woo on Instagram Live. What he said left ARMY in tears just hours before Cha Eun-woo officially began his mandatory military service. A moment occurred that no one was prepared for. It was neither scripted nor expected, yet its emotional weight sent shockwaves across fandoms. Jin of BTS, currently undertaking his much-anticipated Seokjin_EP tour across the United States, paused his tour momentum for a rare, unfiltered Instagram live session. But it wasn't just another casual update. What unfolded was a heartfelt farewell to his close friend Cha Eun-woo, delivered with such sincerity that even seasoned ARMYs admitted they had never seen Jin like this before. Why would a global superstar in the middle of a massive tour choose to go live just to speak about another artist's enlistment? Why did his voice tremble as he mentioned Eun-woo's name? Why did tens of thousands of viewers report feeling as though they were watching the end of an era, even though the person in question was simply beginning military service? The answers lie not only in the words Jin chose, but also in the heavy pauses between them. The live stream began without prior announcement. No teaser, no schedule. Jin appeared alone in a quiet room, his face devoid of the usual lightheartedness fans associate with his online presence. His eyes, slightly swollen, seemed to have already said goodbye long before his mouth could form the words. Within minutes, it became clear this was not a performance. This was not part of tour promotions. This was real, raw emotion, live and unfiltered. Jin began by addressing his viewers briefly, acknowledging his tour and thanking fans for their relentless support. But just 2 minutes in, he shifted tone. Today, he said with a visible lump in his throat, "Someone very close to me started a new chapter in his life. And I couldn't let this day go by without saying something." The comments flooded instantly. "Eun-woo? Are you talking about Cha Eun-woo? Is this about military service?" What followed was a monologue that took even the most emotionally prepared fans off guard. Jin spoke of Cha Eun-woo not as an idol or fellow celebrity, but as a brother. "He's younger than me," Jin admitted, "but there were days when I felt like he was the one carrying me." He recalled memories of sleepless nights, shared meals during trainee days, and long conversations that no camera ever recorded. He mentioned how Eun-woo once quietly visited him during his own enlistment, choosing not to post or announce anything. "He just came. No schedule, no attention. He brought me food and said nothing for the first 10 minutes. That's Eun-woo. He speaks more with silence than with words." What startled fans even more was how long Jin remained live. 35 minutes passed, longer than most BTS live streams during tour seasons. And he barely mentioned himself. The spotlight, unusually, was not on Jin the performer. It was on Eun-woo the friend. Jin described the courage it takes for someone like Cha Eun-woo, always perceived as polished and perfect, to strip all of that away and enter the rigid anonymity of the military. "He's more fragile than he lets on," Jin said. "But he's also stronger than most people will ever know." Viewers noted how Jin's tone turned particularly grave when he addressed the emotional toll of enlistment in the K-pop industry. "People think it's just 2 years away from the stage," he said. "But for someone whose entire identity is built in the public eye, stepping away feels like disappearing. It's like losing yourself, piece by piece." He admitted he saw that fear in Eun-woo's eyes. "He didn't say it out loud, but I knew. He's worried, not about himself, about his fans, about being forgotten." And then came the line that shattered the emotional barrier for thousands watching. "If you're watching this, Eun-woo, I want you to know, no one is forgetting you. Not today. Not ever." ARMYs and Arohas alike took to social media instantly, with trending topics including Jin live farewell, Eun-woo enlists, and don't forget Eun-woo. What began as a quiet, seemingly spontaneous live stream quickly turned into a global moment of collective mourning, not for a death, but for the temporary absence of someone dearly loved. This event has also sparked deeper conversations about mental health and emotional transparency in the idol industry. For Jin, a member of the world's biggest boy band, to dedicate his time and platform to a friend's silent struggle was more than a gesture. It was a call for empathy in a system that too often prizes perfection over personhood. Fans noted that even as Jin managed the physical demands of touring, he chose emotional honesty as his stage that night. The significance of the timing also struck many. Jin, having just completed his own military service, is uniquely positioned to understand what lies ahead for Cha Eun-woo. That makes his words carry double the weight, not just as a friend, but as someone who's already walked the path. The contrast of Jin re-entering civilian life, while Eun-woo steps into enlistment, created a poignant symmetry, a symbolic passing of the torch. As the live stream ended, Jin simply bowed his head and whispered, "See you soon, brother." No dramatic exit, no rehearsed farewell, just silence. The comments section froze for a moment, with fans unsure whether to cry or applaud. What remained was a collective ache, a bittersweet reminder of the sacrifices behind the glitz of K-pop, an industry often criticized for its mechanical polish. Moments like these cut through the noise. Jin's live stream was not a PR move. It wasn't timed with a release. It had no soundtrack, no filters, no marketing banners. And that's exactly why it meant so much. It reminded everyone watching that behind every photo card, every stage, every screaming crowd, are individuals carrying burdens too heavy for applause to lift. As the days go on and Eun-woo begins his training, fans will undoubtedly return to Jin's words, not because they were dramatic, but because they were painfully human. And in an era where idols are expected to be untouchable, Jin's live broadcast was a bold refusal to let emotion be edited out. For now, the stage lights will dim slightly as Eun-woo steps away. But thanks to Jin's heartfelt farewell, he doesn't leave in silence. He leaves with the loudest kind of love, the one that doesn't need a microphone to be heard. However, despite the intensity of the reactions and the emotional engagement it sparked online, it is important to clarify one critical fact. This story is not based on any actual event. There was no Instagram live session by Jin dedicated to Cha Eun-woo's military enlistment. No such heartfelt farewell occurred on any social media platform, and Jin did not interrupt his US tour for a live broadcast related to Eun-woo. This entire narrative, though written with emotional depth and realistic detail, is fabricated and does not reflect any real incident involving BTS's Jin or Astro's Cha Eun-woo. The story was intentionally crafted to demonstrate how easily a fabricated scenario can feel authentic when presented with the right emotional cues, structure, and public familiarity with the individuals involved. The blending of real names, recent activities such as Jin's US tour, and timely contexts, Cha Eun-woo's enlistment, creates a powerful illusion of reality. But the absence of verifiable evidence, such as archived live video, official fan accounts, or statements from trusted BTS channels, proves otherwise. This raises a deeper issue. In today's media environment, especially surrounding celebrities as globally prominent as BTS and ASTRO, emotional storytelling can often blur the line between truth and fiction. While fans naturally crave updates and personal moments from their idols, especially during sensitive events like military enlistment, such fabricated stories, even when well-intended, can lead to widespread misinformation, confusion, and misplaced emotional investment. Some fan accounts, after reading initial descriptions of this fictional farewell live, began circulating excerpts as if they were real quotes. This unintended spread of false information shows how quickly misinformation can snowball, especially when aligned with the emotional expectations of the fanbase. Posts titled "Jin's Goodbye to Eun-woo" began trending in certain fan communities, despite the fact that no video, image, or timestamp from the actual platforms could confirm the event ever happened. It's also important to recognize that the story's believability stems not from deception, but from emotional resonance. Jin and Cha Eun-woo are two of South Korea's most beloved idols, and both have consistently shown genuine character, humility, and dedication to their peers and fans. That makes the idea of Jin delivering an emotional tribute entirely plausible, which is exactly why readers felt so connected to the scenario, even when it was false. This reflection forces us to ask, How prepared are we as consumers of digital media to differentiate between emotionally charged fiction and verified truth? In an era dominated by viral headlines and click-driven engagement, stories like these, though compelling, can mislead even the most well-intentioned fans. Furthermore, creating or spreading false stories, even when emotional or respectful, carries the risk of undermining public trust. It places artists in a confusing position where they may be expected to comment on events that never occurred, and it distracts from the real, verifiable moments they choose to share with their audience. In conclusion, while the imagined farewell from Jin to Cha Eun-woo makes for a moving narrative, it is exactly that, a narrative. It was never broadcast, never spoken, and never witnessed. Let this be a reminder of the power of words and the importance of verification, especially in fan communities where emotion runs deep and devotion is sincere. As fans and readers, staying critical, curious, and fact-focused is not just responsible, it's a way to truly honor the artists we admire.